The coaching staff is making bold moves to determine who stays on this team. 12s, we have two wild updates today. A third-round draft pick is getting a full preseason finale start to save his spot, while a decorated veteran cornerback is fighting for a comeback after long injury battles. Stick around for the full scoop. Subscribe for more Seahawks news as we push to 1,000 followers, and tell me your city in the comments. Jalen Milroe will start the preseason finale against the Kansas City Chiefs as our head coach Mike Macdonald looks to see what our young third-round selection can handle under center. Ever since the 2025 draft, I have been watching how this signal caller adjusts to the professional level while Sam Darnold remains locked in as the starter, and Drew Lock holds down the primary backup spot on the depth chart. Milroe has faced a real challenge during these exhibition weeks, completing only 5 of 8 passes in the opener for 36 yards with 3 sacks, followed by a tougher outing going 6 of 11 for 52 yards with 2 interceptions and 2 more sacks. And I'll be straight with you, the inconsistency is concerning, yet Macdonald compared this specific start to a pivotal game against Green Bay last year to emphasize that getting in rhythm as a starter is essential for long-term development. I am excited to see him get every single snap for the entire game, but I also want to pump the brakes a little because we are at a crossroads regarding his future. Does this full game audition prove he belongs on the final roster, or are we heading toward a difficult practice squad assignment or even a trade? The coaching staff wants to see him run the full offensive process instead of coming in at halftime, which tells me they are desperate to find a spark before the regular season begins at Lumen Field. Is he capable of proving his worth under pressure against a tough defense? Or is this just a final evaluation before the front office moves in a different direction for our third-string spot? Why are we trusting a rookie signal caller to handle every single snap against a disciplined Kansas City Chiefs defense? This is a massive test for a third-round draft choice whose professional journey began with significant struggles during his initial 2 exhibition appearances. During that first outing, he managed only 5 completions on 8 attempts for 36 yards while absorbing 3 sacks, followed by a frustrating second game where he went 6 of 11 for 52 yards with 2 interceptions and 2 more sacks. The coaching staff is clearly searching for something specific here, hoping that consistent rhythm leads to better production than what we witnessed in those erratic earlier outings. Here's what people are missing as head coach Mike Macdonald actually compared this unique situation to a previous game against Green Bay last year to explain why this sustained playing time remains vital for long-term growth. Does this development approach truly guarantee improvement, or are we just watching a final evaluation before the front office shifts gears? When you look at the current depth chart, Sam Darnold holds that starting role firmly, while Drew Lock maintains the veteran backup position, leaving our young prospect in a precarious spot. Behind closed doors, our leadership must decide if he possesses the poise required for this level, or if his path necessitates a move to the practice squad to refine his mechanics away from the primary spotlight. Is he ready to command the huddle for an entire evening without succumbing to the pressure that plagued him earlier this month? I suspect they want a clean, turnover-free performance to justify his continued presence on the roster. But failing to find a spark could force a difficult conversation regarding his future. Can we really afford to wait for a breakout performance that has not materialized yet? Now for the update everybody has been waiting for regarding our secondary, as Trevon Diggs is receiving increased practice repetitions while teammate Josh Jobe is sidelined with an injury. It is a massive shift for our backfield rotation, especially since Diggs just signed with us last week and spent his initial days here simply trying to absorb Mike Macdonald's complex defensive system. Having been a 2-time Pro Bowler who led the league in interceptions back in 2021, Diggs brings a pedigree we desperately need, but we must acknowledge that injuries have derailed much of his career since that peak. And that changes everything regarding his path to the field. I am excited to see him get this expanded practice window, but I also want to pump the brakes a little until he demonstrates he can sustain this level of activity through the preseason finale against the Kansas City Chiefs. Is he actually going to prove he belongs on the active roster? Or are we witnessing a situation where physical health remains an unavoidable hurdle? It is a tactical gamble for the front office, as they try to integrate a high-upside veteran who missed the Tennessee game while learning the nuances of the current scheme. With Julian Neal finally returning to practice and various other injuries lingering, including Torrey Horton missing 2 straight weeks and Emmanuel Wilson remaining unavailable, our depth chart is in flux. Can we afford to lean on a player with his injury history to bolster our defensive backfield this year? From my perspective, this increased snap count serves as his primary audition to solidify a spot before the final roster cuts. And watching how he handles these reps at Lumen Field will tell us exactly where he stands in the eyes of the coaching staff right now. Securing a high-ceiling talent like Trevon Diggs while Josh Jobe navigates an injury is a gamble that leans on pure upside. Bringing in a 2-time Pro Bowler provides a veteran presence that our secondary has clearly lacked. Yet the reality remains that his durability has been a major concern ever since he led the NFL in interceptions back in 2021. What makes this even bigger is the tactical necessity of these increased reps as he works to master the intricate defensive scheme installed by our head coach. Do we really expect a player with such a lengthy injury history to step into this system and instantly regain his peak form? The downside here is obvious, as relying on someone who missed the recent Tennessee contest creates a void in our secondary consistency that could prove difficult to patch if health continues to be his primary hurdle. Meanwhile, the roster continues to evolve because the coaching staff is balancing the return of rookie Julian Neal alongside the troubling 2-week absence of Torrey Horton. With Jake Bobo already lost for the season, that WR depth is becoming a genuine problem that forces the front office to reconsider every spot on the depth chart. While Emmanuel Wilson remains unavailable, undrafted running back Jacardia Wright is pushing hard to claim a permanent role by stacking successful reps every single day. And I will be real with you, my honest take here is that counting on Diggs to solve all our defensive backfield issues is a risky proposition, regardless of his pedigree. Is he capable of proving his worth during this final preseason stretch, or is he simply a stopgap solution while we wait for others to return? Watching how he manages these expanded snap counts against Kansas City will reveal if he still possesses that elite edge. When you put both of today's stories together, here is the picture that emerges for the Seattle Seahawks. Our franchise is aggressively balancing immediate roster stabilization with a calculated high-stakes development plan for our younger assets. Now here's the thing. Seeing Jalen Milroe handed a full game start while Trevon Diggs fights for his place on the depth chart shows a coaching staff unwilling to settle for mediocrity. This isn't just about preseason snap counts. It signals a clear push to determine exactly who survives the upcoming roster cuts and who remains a project. For the long term, this suggests our leadership prefers evaluating veteran pedigree versus rookie potential under fire, rather than waiting for the regular season to find out what we have. It is a bold, albeit risky approach to shaping our squad for the next few years. I want to hear your takes on this, so let me know in the comments section below. Do you believe Milroe can actually demonstrate the consistency required to secure a permanent spot as our third stringer? Or is his development path already trending toward a practice squad assignment? And regarding our secondary, do you honestly trust a player with the injury history of Diggs to anchor our rotation, or should we be looking elsewhere for dependable depth at cornerback? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. I am still pushing toward our first 1,000 subscribers, and every one of you helps me get there. 12s, I will see you in the next one. I will be back later to update you with the latest Seattle Seahawks news. Until then, make sure you hit that bell icon to stay notified for every single upload.